Hello everyone, thank you for being here. I thought I'd create another Flipped Collaborate session on how to write an essay and more specifically how to approach this essay. So I just went really quickly through our Flipped Collaborate for assignment 2, and this time we're going to go through it some different elements and a little bit more slowly so you can really understand what's going on. So again, you're going to be researching 2 learning modes and 2 theories, and we really encourage you to go from our options in activity 4.5. We'll have a quick look through them again now. When I left you just before, we were talking about, I'd gone through tip sheet 1. So that gave you some ways that you can organize your headings according to the 3 different options we're encouraged to use. And then I raced through giving you some language here for tip sheet 2. So that's to help you with your academic writing and just to know that you're moving in the right direction in terms of your third person, etc. And there's a couple of elements that I've added in there that aren't actually in the assignment details, and I just wanted to talk you through those. So one of the questions that comes up is, so we're going to, when we start, it's always great to start an essay with a really great opening statement, and you'll always begin your introduction right at the very end. So you've already done your research and you know what you think about learning modes and what you think about theories, and give us a really whiz-bang opener, something to hook your audience. Just like when you're a teacher in the classroom, you're going to be looking for a hook for your audience every time you teach some new content. So give us a really good hook. So I've given a few ones here. So an example of an opening statement might be related to the topic itself. So deciding on the most appropriate learning theories has long been debated about by educators. So what do we know about theories? They're a way of approaching and thinking about teaching and learning. And it might be that when you walk into a classroom, a teacher's not going to announce to themselves, I'm going to engage in some behaviorism practices here, pull out my little my sticker chart or my high fives. Teachers don't really work that way, do they? So what we do is we think about teaching and we think about learning and that metacognition, which is thinking about thinking. And what we do is we reflect on what's in front of us. Who are the students in front of us and what do they need right now? At the moment, are they a little bit tired and a little bit waning and they just need a tiny bit of motivation and a little bit of reinforcement to get through this task? Is it that they've completely fallen apart because their morning didn't go well, they lost their diary, they can't find their shoes, and right then in that point, humanism might be the approach that an educator would take. Okay, let's stop and think, what does this child need? Let's think of them holistically and let's make sure their emotions are fine, they feel safe and secure in the classroom before we do anything else. So all the time, teachers are making these judgment calls, and they're making it for many different students and all at exactly the same time. So how good that we've got some awesome people called theorists who have done some thinking about learning and teaching and approaches. So teachers won't necessarily say, today I'm going to engage in the learning mode using schemas and post-structural theory. They will just draw upon whichever elements are most important in that moment. So it's also something that means that it's so dynamic. So if you've got an understanding of theories in the back of your mind when you step into a classroom, when you're on prac, you won't even think about it. You'll just meet the needs of the students that are in front of you in that moment, and you'll draw upon whatever knowledge that you have to meet that need. So let's get back to our opening statement. You're going to give us a really great statement on what you believe. So we know that deciding on the best learning theory has long been debated by educators. You could give us a beautiful quote. Meeting the needs of students is both a science and an art. So we're really going to move away from this idea of starting with this essay will outline 2 theories and 2 learning modes. Give us something really exciting. And then you're going to establish your main argument. So it is a descriptive essay, but we do have a main argument. All essays have an argument. I've given you an example here. So understanding learning modes and theories assists educators to, what does it assist them to do? You use your research. Does it help them to meet the needs of their students? Does it help them to engage in reflective and responsive practices? Does it help them to meet the needs of a wide variety of learners in the classroom? We all know that we have different styles of learning. So establish your main argument, please, in your introduction. And then you're going to give us a roadmap. So this doesn't have to be detailed at all. You're just going to tell us where you're going. So you're going to tell us which theory and which learning modes you're going to research, and perhaps a couple of elements. So you might say that discussing and understanding psychodynamic theory with whatever the learning mode is, and looking at the benefits of limitations helps to understand and present best teacher practice. So really just giving us the broad and generic idea of where your plan is and what points you will cover. So your introduction is usually 10% of your assignment. Your conclusion is usually 10% of your word count as well. So it gives you a bit of an idea. And then I've popped this in here, and students sometimes ask, why is that in there? I don't see it in the assignment criteria. I just have found that it is a great idea to define and explain anything that you're going to spend 2,000 words on. You really want to make sure that your reader has a good understanding of what you're actually discussing. So take the time to define the main topics. So a great one would be teaching. So you can define teaching, you can find an academic definition there. Tell us what learning is. That would be helpful as well. So that would be good to include in the practice of teaching. And then I said I would help you out with this that was in our criteria. We've asked you to discuss the theoretical, societal, and educational context of teaching and learning. What does that mean? Okay, here's some examples. There are honestly so many of them, but this might give you an understanding of the sorts of things that you could cover here. So the theoretical context. Tell us about the theory. So are there, how many theories are there? Is there one theory? And is that one theory appropriate for every single person that you will ever teach? So, well, we know that's not right. So we know that there are many theories, and there are many different theories in the one situation that an educator can align with. So how do we know which one is appropriate and when? Well, that is the science and art of teaching, isn't it? And is this set or is this dynamic? So really teachers, they are always on their toes, and things are changing minute by minute and second by second. And I'm sure that teachers draw on different theories, a number of different theories in any point in time in teaching the content, caring for the students, and meeting their needs. So that's a bit about the theoretical context. There are many different theories, and you could align with any of them according to what the needs of your students are. So let's talk about the societal context. So an example of this is, as I was saying, we meet the needs of a wide diversity of students and families within any given community. So Australia is wonderful. We have such a multicultural society, and our communities represent lots of different cultures. We have families that look completely different. We have different ages, different backgrounds, different cultures, and so we need to meet the needs of all of the people, all of the families and all of the students in our classroom. So for the societal context, you could talk about that. So it makes me think immediately of sociocultural theory, and meeting the needs of students, meeting them where they're at. So you're thinking all of your ESL students and children with additional needs, all of the different types of learning styles that will be in your classroom. So going back to that kinesthetic, the auditory, the visual, the naturalistic learners, all that sort of thing, they'll all be within your classroom. So that's a little bit on societal context. And educational context, I quickly raced through this in the last Flip to Collaborate, but basically, how do students typically learn in Australia? It's typically a group environment, and it typically includes peers and an educator, a teacher, and it's dynamic. So you never quite know what's going to happen within a lesson, and basically the teacher responds to the understanding, the learning and the needs of the students minute by minute. So they're just some examples there. This is not something that you can necessarily get wrong. There's so many different issues that you could highlight. I've just given you these so you can feel confident. If you can't think of anything else, you can jump on board with those. Okay, let's have a look at, you're going to discuss your main essay points. So you're going to head back over to our tip sheet number 1. You're going to choose between those colours. We've got our 3 different pairings that you could choose from, and you're going to follow that plan if you would like to. If you feel super confident and you look at this assignment, you've totally got it, run with it. You absolutely can use your own plan. If you don't feel that way, you're very welcome to use the headings that are recommended there, and then these align with those. So when you look into problem solving, you're going to tell us, problem solving focuses on humanism is understood to be. This learning theory promotes, what does it promote in students? Does it promote engagement? Does it promote communication? Does it promote social skills in students? What does it promote? So you can see there's just some sentence openers for you. I'm going to pop down here. Then you're going to talk about the benefits and limitations. Remember, that was in our past criteria. So the benefits of the behaviorism approach is that it enhances. What does it enhance? Tell us what it does. And what will the students gain from this? And then the critics. So the critics of developmental theory argue that and tell us. So you're going to remember, you're going to do a couple of benefits and a couple of limitations on each, some examples in the learning environment. So tell us what this would actually look like in the classroom. So for instance, I'm going to take humanism. So for humanism, you're really valuing the child and making sure that all of their needs are met. So in the morning, an example might be, does your daily routine start with a check-in? How are you today? Would you like to start the day sitting with a partner? Would you like to head to the floor and spend a few minutes reading in the book nook? Would you like to move your body and come and use some resources that are up here? Get your body working, have a chat with a friend. So that's just an example of something in the daily routine that could support a student following the humanism principles. Of course, there's hundreds and hundreds. And then here you're going to demonstrate, you're going to tell us the place of theory. So tell us or demonstrate how theories can be useful for thinking. So what do theories allow educators to do? What do they assist them to do? Here's some examples. Theory forms a solid foundation for educators to understand and what do they do from there? Okay, so you can see that I've gone through all these down here, and I'm just going to pop back up here and take us back to our research. So this is something I'm just about to create another flipped collab. It's going to teach you how to begin your research. And if you're a little bit stuck where to start, you can click on the next one. It will help you out. Bye.